Managing a small team or business comes with a unique set of challenges. With limited resources and manpower, it's easy for things to feel chaotic and out of your control. How can you, as a leader, accomplish your goals while keeping your team engaged, effective, and accountable? This podcast will give you practical strategies you can implement now to lead your team or business to reach its fullest potential. Welcome to the Organizing Chaos podcast with your host, Danny Coleman.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Organizing Chaos, where we find small practical strategies for small teams and small businesses. And continuing my summer interview series, I have with me today Mr. Christian Linares from Design Gum. And we're going to talk about his design business and a lot of other stuff. So without further ado, Christian, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's
totally
fun.
This is your office. I love this is your office. It's fantastic here.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for inviting me in.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your background.
Okay.
And then how did you get to Design Gum?
Okay. Well, my background is I picked up design in high school, but it started as architecture. That was where I felt as a kid with Legos. I was always building stuff, and it was in high school. I took a commercial art class. At that time, I had no idea that's graphic design. I didn't. Who was graphic or what was graphic design? So I just thought commercial art. Going into architecture, all the same kind of stuff. So
at this time you were shooting for architecture?
Yeah. I was just taking all the art classes I could because I knew it all kind of helped pave the way for doing architecture. So I was taking commercial art classes, and it was fun. It was fun stuff, and I had no idea that was graphic design. So I'm making soda labels. We're screen printing T-shirts. I just never knew that was like a job. I always thought architecture, I can be an architect. I always thought that was the job, and this was just all fun stuff that, you can't make money doing this kind of stuff. So it wasn't until my first job when I worked at, I'm from California, so my first job was
Central?
Northern California.
Okay, cool.
So outside or in the Bay Area.
I told you lived in Fresno for 4 years.
Yeah, half my wife's family. From over there.
Well, that's crazy.
So, yeah.
I love that.
So my first job was at a grocery store called Safeway. I was bagging groceries. So this was my senior year in high school, and I've taken all these classes to be an architect, and I put that in quotes because I didn't know I was actually being trained to be a graphic designer. So anyways, the cashier that I was bagging for, he was taking some college classes, and one of my favorite bands, like local bands at that time, came in, and and he was buying groceries, and he was talking to him, and they were both chatting, and I was just like kind of locally starstruck. I'm like, oh my God, that's the same that band I love, or whatever. And so I asked him, well, what do you guys do? And he's like, oh, I'm designing their album art. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I was like, so what do you have to do for school for that? He's like, well, it's graphic design. And I was like, and it started clicking that what I was doing in high school, like the whole time, was preparing for graphic design. So after I kind of knew what that was, what graphic design was, I switched. I was like, well, I don't know what architecture is really. I only took one class. I just wanted to design something. I figured I'd learn that in college or something. But knowing that I was going on the path of graphic design, it was just a good.
So you got to do a bunch of design classes in high school?
Yeah, but it was all by hand. So we're doing like.
But was it art class, or was it actually like a graphic design class in high school?
It was commercial art.
That's awesome. I didn't know that they did that in high school. That's good to hear, though. All were learning more in high school before you had to get too old. Yeah,
so I think I had like 3 classes total. So starting from sophomore year to senior, I always took commercial art 1, 2, and 3. Nice. So it was fun. Like I had no idea. It wasn't until the end of senior year I figured out that was a career called graphic design. So you and I both know graphic design's like a big, wide open spectrum now. Different types of professions.
Yeah.
So I went to college. I went for 2 years only because I'm kind of a hustler, so I just started getting work while I was in college, doing a bunch of side work, and I just figured, hey, I'm already making money, I'm just going to run. So,
so you drop out too?
What? No, I didn't drop out. I just went for an AA.
I dropped out. I was going to high five you.
I had this plan of going to Academy of Art University out in San Francisco, and when I realized the sticker price for that, I was just not worth it. I'm already making money. I don't need to pursue anymore. So I guess that's a partial regret of mine, only because I would love to teach this in a college setting one day, but maybe I'll go back.
Well, I mean, maybe you could.
Yeah.
Or you can teach it online where you can just, the proof is in what you can do.
Yeah. Maybe just say, hey, there's another way.
There's another way.
Yeah.
That's a different discussion.
Yeah. So Design Gum was kind of the ultimate, or where I'm at now in my stage of my career, which, I've worked in agencies, I've worked in-house for several companies. Design Gum's just the cultivation of all my experience from back when I first had the inclination to start my own thing. So
Design Gum then has existed since college year?
In my head. Okay. Yeah. I've always knew I wanted to do my own thing, so I never really fit in corporate jobs as I was, working them. But I always lit up when I was doing freelance work, or if I was, working with a business trying to get some logo or a website done. Like, just dealing with the decision maker just put me on fire. I was just so excited to get in their heads and really, give something that really help their business out.
Yeah.
So
how do you like, I guess, compare your path to finding your passion and getting to make a business out of it? How do you compare that to, like, either maybe your peers or colleagues? Like, have you seen them be able to do something similar? Like, what do you see, I guess, right now?
Yeah, I think you always know.
Yeah.
If you have this inclination that I want to do something, I want to follow something, I think that inclination exists in everybody, or at least the people who actually do that. You have to have some sort of inclination that I am going to follow my dreams. So, you can be that person who's fine with the corporate job and if it never dawns on you that you were made for more, then you probably are made for what you're doing, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I think each of us who kind of pursue our own things always have that little drive, that little voice in us saying there's something more for us. Yeah. So I think it's just listening to that.
That's interesting that you say that, because for a long time I thought that I figured mine out after I was working for my father-in-law for a while. I was painting contractor business. But when I realized the kernel of why, like the core of why I want to do what I want to do, which is what I'm doing now is business consulting, there at the core of that is really just helping people solve problems. And there's a lot more to the problems than just like surface level problems. They usually have to do with who you are as a person. So there's almost like a psychologist type aspect to a lot of what I do. I'll sit down with certain business owners or talk on the phone with them or whatever, and they'll be like, I shouldn't tell you this, I'm not sure why I'm telling you this or whatever. I'm like, yes, how does that make you feel? And that goes back to my original, which a lot of people's original major was psychology. And then I went from that to English because I was interested in teaching, but I liked the idea of being able to like help the kids who are in the high school period of their life, like figure out what to do next. And then I got into the business stuff. So when I trace it back though, I see that you're right. Like deep down, you know what it is you want to do. How that manifests is kind of the journey that you have to go on. Yeah. What do you think you kind of learned about yourself between when you started Design Gum in college, more or less, but then between that and then actually breaking off to do it?
Yeah, so Design Gum itself wasn't born in college. That was born probably 4 years ago as a direction of what I wanted to name my future design agency. So, however, knowing that I wanted to do my own thing, is that your question?
Basically taking it from the freelance part and then making the jump, from being paid by someone by a check regularly to then having to hustle.
Let's see. So I failed about 2-3 years ago. I tried to do Design Gum then, and I failed miserably. I just was not trained. And when I mean failed, I wasn't doing bad work. I just wasn't getting any. I just had no idea where to start. We just moved from California to Tennessee at that time. A couple partnership ideas just fell through. I started losing contact with my clients out in California. So the work from them was kind of slowly dwindling down to really just the ones who, were just fine with working with me. Other ones wanted to be more face to face. So it was just kind of going down, and I just wasn't ready. No matter what your passion or your business is, no business to some degree. Be prepared. I just wasn't. I had no marketing plan. I didn't even know the fundamentals of running a business. Your time is your time, right? Having a schedule is impossible. I still have a hard time with the schedule, but I know I need to dedicate X amount of time to my business a day. Right. So I'm I'm not like a fixed schedule person, but I just know that if I'm just sitting,
right.
A mantra that I've been telling myself now is get business or get a job. Because if I'm not, if I'm not trying to get business, then I might as well go find a job, because it's not just going to fall on my lap. So I think really was knowing my weaknesses, knowing where my weaknesses were as a person, and knowing to be aware of them, knowing, I like to jump from idea to idea to idea. I kind of don't like finishing per se. So knowing that helped me flush my idea for my business for the last few years to like just really stick with it. Like, my old pattern would have been, well, it's not design gum anymore. It's something else because I want to do this. But realizing I just have to stick with something and move. So I guess to answer your question is just know your weaknesses and then also understand some fundamental businesses.
Any specific books that you recommend that help you get there?
Goodness sakes. I'm a big personality test freak, so I love Myers-Briggs. I know some people like bash you for that or something.
I'm a Myers-Briggs believer.
Are they all the answer? No, but they give you a good idea of who you are.
Correct.
Same with the Enneagram. I like those. And then because you read those profile descriptions of what your weaknesses are, those should ring true to you. So, eventually I want to pass my weaknesses on to someone who's good at those things, once I get to that level, but knowing now I have to tackle them, helps me stay focused and just know it's only for now. Like, I just got to do this.
Well, that's awesome that you're aware of those things. Yeah. So many people, individuals in general, aren't aware of themselves. And that's the biggest thing I always tell people is, like, I think the best thing you can ever do for yourself, more than college, more than anything else, is know thyself, right? Like, it's from the Matrix, that's like, it's in that scene with the Oracle, it's like, know thyself. And I was like, Naste ipsum, I think is what it is in Latin, but whatever. I just think that's so big. And you speak to that.
Yeah, I think self-awareness is key. Like, you really need to know. And you said books. I read Simon Sinek Start With Why.
Yeah, same here. That kickstarted my whole book reading. It's just like I
had a whole bunch of other books. I wish I would have known. I would have had my list ready, but I was reading for 2.5 years straight because I had a 45-minute commute. I just put Audible books on and just start learning business stuff. So I can give you a list you could put in the show notes. Like,
cool. There's so many. I couldn't think of all mine either, honestly. And different books I've read really kind of attacked like different certain things. I will say two, and I might have told you this too, and I like to share it as often as I can. It's just two books that really had a lot to do. You would like Rocket Fuel, because Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman and Mark C. Winters addresses, and Gino Wickman, by the way, is the author of Traction, Get a Grip on Your Business, if anyone's ever heard of that before. But anyways, he co-wrote it with Mark C. Winters, and it's just a book about the visionary and the integrator. And I think I've talked to you a little bit about this before. I talk about it on my show ad nauseum because it's the gospel I preach. Those are the two different, it takes not one entrepreneur, but two entrepreneurs to create a successful business, ultimately. And obviously, then when you're starting out, you got to figure that out yourself. The two entrepreneurs that think differently about business. It allows you to kind of attack it from both directions. And then there is the E-Myth, specifically the E-Myth Revisited, by Michael Gerber. And that's a great book to kind of, and again, this really has a lot to do with more the way I approach business, which is, from the internal standpoint, where I'm looking at the guts, how does it work and stuff like that. I would say probably for you, you're looking at business more. How is your business presenting itself? What is it making people feel and stuff like that? So, so speak a little bit to like what you specifically want to do with Design Gum. Like, far as like, what's your mission? Like, what are you trying to? What are you trying to?
My mission is to help small and medium-sized businesses, just take design seriously, and their brands. Their brands are really getting created all the time. Like, from just depositing money to the bank account, like that teller has an idea of your business by how much you're depositing. So it can get that granular. So the part I want to influence and help businesses understand is the design aspect, because that is the first impression that everybody sees of your business. And as modern technology is getting more and more fast and accessible to people, they're experiencing great design on a daily basis. So, having your business somewhat look relevant to today, you kind of can still cut through the noise. So, really my mission is just to educate businesses that design is important. It's a great selling tool. When you're giving someone a business card, if that thing looks homemade, that's their impression of you.
Right.
So, if you have a professionally designed logo, your mission and value statements, you can present your brand on all angles, like that person's more likely going to buy from you. So,
what do you think? So, small businesses that I work with and encounter a lot are definitely like you said you work with small and medium. I'm definitely small, if not maybe you call it micro.
Yeah.
2 to 25. So it can range, right? The profit margins under a small business like that can range.
Yeah.
I've worked with a virtual like a real estate education company. The profit margins on that a lot bigger. But local coffee shops margins are small. Sometimes the owners aren't even paying themselves, or if they are, it's barely nothing. They're having to hire everybody at rock bottom. So how do you how would you try to help them? Because I'm with you on the whole design thing, but I know that there's a scale. As far as what they're capable of putting money towards. Even if you that's things you've sold. I know you're good at that. So I don't know. I don't want to answer for you. So speak to how do you get a small business like that who's got hardly any money? Where do they start?
Well, really, it starts with a conversation, a brand conversation, really. I try to convince them that design's important. Like, especially in a small town, you got big corporations coming in, Starbucks moving in. Like, how does that coffee shop compete with Starbucks now? And hands down, Starbucks is just going to naturally draw people because they've created such a brand for themselves.
Right.
But, how I would speak to a business is really, you don't have to be Starbucks, but you can be yourself because people will buy from you. Because if you're being authentic and real, they're going to probably choose you over Starbucks. But you need to still look at a competitive level. Look at it in a competitive level. Design is subconscious to buyers. They don't know why, but people are naturally drawn to nice aesthetics. So, if typography is weird or it looks janky in a way, people get that. So I guess, it's hard. That's a tough question to ask because every client comes to me with a different problem. So I really look at it, what's your brand? Is the way you're being represented something you're proud to share? Because your business, if you're surviving, then you're obviously doing something right. So how do I enhance that and make it be even more successful for you? Because that is the next level of your business. If you want to take it from local small shop to a little bit bigger business, design is part of that process. That's how you look bigger and better than where you were before. So I guess, my pitch is to my clients is just, if you want to get from here to here, design's part of that process. You can't do it handmade, using Uncle Joe as your designer anymore. You're going to have to outsource. And a lot of things I've run into with local businesses or smaller businesses is they don't have a marketing budget. I think that's the big thing. You're putting money into things that you're not thinking about. Marketing is huge, especially in today's economy.
The small businesses that I've worked with, and I get it to a degree, but also marketing is looked at more reactionary. It's like, hey, things are kind of getting slim around here. Let's turn the marketing faucet on. And it's like, we're busier than we can handle. Shut it off. Shut it off. And that's how it works. And of course, that's not at all what you should do when it comes to marketing. It needs to always stay on. But that said, what would you how would you advise maybe a smaller business who's only got maybe $200 a month kind of marketing budget or something small like that?
For something small like that, just reassess where your marketing is actually. Maybe hire a digital marketer for you to start helping, because they start at a lower level, right? They can do anything.
Because it's online, you mean?
Yeah. So, with $200, it's kind of a narrow budget, I guess. I would just save it and just wait till you're ready to actually put some real money into it. And when I mean real money, something to get someone excited.
Do you have a recommendation as far as what maybe the smallest, what's something you can start, okay, you're like, I can work with that?
I don't know, $1,000
a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I don't do monthly things.
Right.
I would just say a marketing person. So what is that? That's $12,000 a month or $12,000 a year. If you're making $120,000 a year, that's about right. So if you're a $60,000 a year business, then that's $60 a month, or no, $600.
Don't ask me to do math.
I'm trying to figure it out. Anyways, my rule of thumb is 10% of your marketing budget.
That's a really good rule of thumb. So many people, I'm telling you, man, I work with people, and it's like, and I'm the same way in different ways. I just there's where do I start? Give me just anything to start there. And so that 10%, I would say that anyone who's listening to this, your small business, there's a really good barometer to where you need to start. And if you don't know what you're making per year, get an accountant. And they said sometimes that's how it is. They don't really know what they're making per year, or stuff's not being tracked well in QuickBooks, and so they're just like, forget it, just go, you know.
Yeah.
And I understand there's a degree of when you're starting a small business, like you just got to go, but then there's got to be these you had to have regular intervals where you pause and you assess.
Yeah.
And I actually we just did that the other day with the real estate education business that I work with. We were looking at our numbers and it's like, hey man, if we had a little bump right here, like that would cover the cost of all this, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And but it's that taking that time to pause and not just be, you know, because when you are starting, it is go, go, go. And then a lot of small businesses stay in go, go, go mode all the time. Because there is never a time where they pause and assess and create plans and whatnot. But that's another discussion too.
Yeah. So with let's just shameless plug for me.
Yeah,
I do an open branding course for $500, and I assess your brand from the top to bottom. How does it look? How does it appeal? Is it really representing you? And then from there, I give you a kind of a roadmap on how you can get to the next level with your brand. So I give you the questions to ask yourself and the things you can start implementing now, which is really, you know, a lot of businesses, surprisingly a lot, you probably work with this too, no vision or mission statements. Those things are huge. I don't write them, but I put them there like you need to have them.
You need to have them.
You know, and then I encourage our businesses to have a real brand filter. Like what is, from now on, what are you making all your decisions on? Because what that's going to do, you know, when we're ready to actually pull some design and give you an actual, you know, visual brand and experiential brand for your customers, we're going to have all the foundational pieces, and actually goes by way faster and quicker, and it's more authentic to you because you've had time to think about it. So, so that's kind of what I would do. With you had $200 to save for 2.5 months. Hire me. I will, you know, give you an action plan with your brand that you can do right now.
That's awesome. That's perfect. And it's
I
probably
don't mean to include myself.
No, I mean, please do it. And I mean, and honestly, like, and you know, you and I've talked about this. We'll talk about more later. But you know, like, you know, we have similar desires. We want to see small businesses succeed. And the possibility for them to do better than they are is there. You know, I oftentimes as I would kind of be formulating, you know, my ideas in my head about what I wanted to do and how I want to help small business, I always think of that quote from The Dark Knight where like Joker's just like, you know, Gotham deserves a better brand of criminal, or a better brand of criminals or something like that. And I would just like, like that's like, I think the world, or I'll say specifically like Murray County, whatever, I think that Murray County deserves a good brand, you know, a good brand of small business. You know? And there's certain businesses around town, you can see them, their marketing's on point or whatever, whether they've done it intentionally, or maybe it's something that kind of came out of just their creativity or whatever. But those businesses have just like immediately risen to the top. Or if they come in from out of, you know, maybe from Nashville or from down south, they'll come in here and you're just like immediately, you know, you're like, they're getting attention and all this love. And you're just like, well, here's these other places that have been around forever. Some of them, because they've been around forever, still get, you know, the business that they need, but other ones have, you know, fallen by the wayside. And so I think that this is exactly like, you know, like you're talking about it from the marketing and the how are you presenting yourself way. And that really does tie in with what I teach about operations and systems and whatnot, because the systems, those SOPs and whatnot, maintain the image and the presentation and of course vision and stuff like that is exactly what I start people off with. So it's awesome just getting to talk to you, and happily please shamelessly plug yourself. But yeah, you guys, this is probably actually a good time to wrap it up because we're starting to hit that point, but again, Christian Linares with Design Gum, especially if you live here locally in Murray County, we'd love to work with you. Christian would love to work with you. And do you service people all over the world, or just the U.S.?
I service all over.
Okay, you have any international clients?
Well, one of my clients is international.
Okay.
So
so you're international business.
I'm gonna have to do
world famous.
I'm gonna have to do some Asian translation for some of my stuff.
Oh wow, that's gonna be fun. Cool. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. Appreciate it, Christian. And thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you had an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you later.
Want more? Go to DannyColeman.me to download Danny's free small business hiring guide, which includes tips, templates, and tools, plus a step-by-step process you can use to find and keep high-quality employees for your small team or business.